Today, I would like to present the research article, and the title is about English learning motivations of young learners in Danish primary school. So this is the whole of the research article that I found from the language teaching research. So the author from the research journal article is Katalin Vennevis, University of Southern Denmark. And this is from Sage Journal, so this is the whole of the research journal article. And yeah, we can scroll to the end of the title. So okay, so the first thing that you can know from the research journal articles is the purpose. So the purpose is state in this here. The study investigated what they like and dislike about English lessons and what motivated them to learn English. So this is the state in the abstract. So after the purpose of this study, we can know the novelty. The novelty we can know from the introductions in the part of introduction, the last part of introductions. This states this article is one of the first study on the attitude and motivation change of this young age group of EFL learners in the input-rich Scandinavian language environment. So the novelty is stated clearly in the last part of the introductions. So next, in after we know the novelty, we can go to the research question. So this research, and I'm sorry, I found the second and third purpose. This is stated in the research questions. So the second purpose of this study is to examine 8 to 90-year-old Danish children's attitude toward learning English at school and what motivates them to learn English. And an additional aim of the study is to examine whether there is a difference between the EFL learning motivations and attitudes of both highly proficient and less proficient learners on one hand, and younger and older learners on the other hand, which has to my knowledge not been examined in previous qualitative study. So these research questions has been stated clearly in the research questions. So in this study, we can know the two research questions. The first research questions is, how do you 7 to 8 and 90 to 7 years old children's attitudinal and motivational variables change across 1 year? And the research questions 2 is, what do children say about A, what they like or dislike English lessons, and B, which reasons they give for learning English? Are there differences between younger and older learners or highly proficient and less proficient learners? And go move to the methods. And the first is participants. This is the participants. We can know from the sentence, the larger sample consists of 20 to 276 EFL students, 139 boys and 137 girls at 6 primary schools in Denmark, selected via a stratified sampling technique with the geographical location as stratifications variable. And the subsamples consist of 30 children from 2 Danish primary school. So it's about the participants, and we can go to the instruments and procedure. The instrument we can know from the sentence. The study is use the PABD pictures vocabulary tests, and the author used the questionnaires and interview. Yeah, this. Yeah. So the data instrument use the test, questionnaires, and interview and classroom observations. So the video was set up by the researcher herself or a fellow researcher. Situations mentioned by the children are supplemented by information from classroom observations when necessary. So, and the research design of the study is mixed method or qualitative and quantitative. It's stated for it's stated in the data analysis. So the quantitative data were analyzed by regression analysis in order to examine whether there were differences between children's responses in the first and the second questionnaires, between early and late starters, and between boys and girls. Analyses were done in the statistical program Stata version 14, and this is for the quantitative. The author used the statistical program Stata versions 14, and the first step is relevance, utterances, answering research questions. A and B were identified as themes. Second step, situation described by the children as enjoyable or less enjoyable, and where English could be used were categorized. In the third steps, the categories were discussed with a fellow researchers who was familiar with the data until agreement was reached. And finally, the relevant passage identified the first step were checked again and reassigned to different categories if necessary. Oh, the that the step that I mentioned is for the qualitative data. We can know from this statement, qualitative data were transcribed and analyzed manually by thematic analysis. So this research use the quantitative and qualitative. After we know the data analysis, we can go for, and this is the how author you how author this data, and this is the results of the data. This is the result of multiple linear regressions for the attitude towards English lessons. It is data from the quantitative, and this is the qualitative data. And we can go to the conclusions. The results of this study point, we can know the results of this study. The result of this study point of the following conclusions. First, young Danish TFL learners' positive attitudes toward the learning situation decreased significantly within 1 year in both age groups, which means children who started learning English in the first grade did not retain their more positive attitude toward English compared with those who start in the third grade. Second, more boys than girls describe English as their favorite subject. Third, independently age, genders, and proficiency level at the interview, children enjoy really life situations, variation, and difference the English lessons. So this is the results of this study, and it's all about my presentations. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy, and see you in the next video. Thank you.